going to go inside and ask some questions with Charlie, see how the bats are made, and see what else I can find out. So come on. Here inside Phoenix Bat Company with my good friend Charlie Trudeau, also known as Lefty. So thank you again for letting me come down here. Now, how did you start actually making bats?
Started making bats when the Ohio Historical Society, who I played baseball for, needed some bats for their team that was playing pre-Civil War era baseball.
Okay.
I have a pretty complete wood shop at home, and so they asked me if I could make some historic bats, and I did.
Now I'm wondering, do you still use the old lay every now and again, or you completely thrown it out?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the original lathe that I started turning on, I turned too many bats on and wore them out, and now we've gone so far beyond hand turning that everything's done on a computer and on an automatic lathe. We don't even maintain the old ones anymore.
Now, I was going to say, as with this bat here that I just, found hanging over here.
It's a Napla Joy model.
Right. Why is the double handle?
Well, it's just back. This actually goes back to the early part of the 20th century, and the bats tended to be very big and very heavy.
Right.
So what the guys would do is they'd swing with a split hand grip for
Okay.
better control, because the home run was just not heard of really a lot at the time. There weren't a lot of home runs being hit. It was what they call small ball. Get a guy on base, knock him over to second, knock him over to third, score a run, and you're done for the inning.
Right.
You're getting 1 or 2 runs an inning, and that was about it. So they tend to go with the split hand grip and a lot of control.
Now, how has it changed from a bat, say, like this, or the ones that you have, like, hanging here and here, to the ones that we have today?
Well, boy, now you get into modern ball, and the first thing you notice is that the handles are much, much thinner. Barrels not so much, but the handles are much thinner today than they used to be. Different woods than they used to use, certainly different finishes than they used to use. But the bats today tend to be much more top-heavy than the old bats.
And I was going to say, the different styles of bats are ash, maple, and oak, if I have that correct?
Birch. At least those are the 3 woods we work with, and those are the 3 prominent woods in Major League Baseball. Are those 3? There are some people working with some other woods like oak. Really don't make a very good bat.
Now, I noticed back over here, you can't see in the back. This is what it starts out as, right?
Yep. This is called a billet. This is an ash billet, but this is called a billet. So if you look at the end, you notice it has a number written on it. That's the weight in ounces. Every billet that comes in, we weigh, and that tells us what bats we can make out of it.
Okay. And what's the difference between, say, an ash bat and a maple bat?
Well, here actually I'll show you, so this is ash, and if you look at those growth rings, you see the little dots in there?
Mm-hmm.
Those are all air pockets, and ash is what's called a ring porous wood.
Okay.
Porous is those air pockets. What that allows the wood to do is flex. So if you are watching a major league hitter, and you're kind of at a right angle to him as he swings, as he comes through the strike zone, they swing so hard that ash bat is actually bending backwards. It comes forward as he goes through. Maple, on the other hand, grab this. This is a maple billet, and if you look at the growth rings on a maple,
They're a lot closer together.
you'll see that it doesn't have those air pockets at all. Maple is a much more dense wood and much more rigid wood. And what the difference is, when that maple gets used and it goes through the strike zone, it doesn't flex.
Okay.
It does a fabulous job of giving the energy back to the ball if you hit it properly. But because it's so rigid that if you don't hit it, square it up, so to speak, if you don't square it up, it's a very unforgiving wood. So
Right.
if you don't square it up, the ball's really not going to go anywhere.
Now, why is, with this one, as I just kind of noticed looking at it, why is there a ball on the end of
Actually, that one, it's called the ball balance bat, and there's also the mushroom bat, both from the same
bat.
era, and that's the one on there.
This one right here?
Yep, and those actually come from the same era as the Napla Joy model, and tend to be big, heavy bats, and that extended knob acted as a counterbalance. made the barrel feel not quite as heavy because you had something underneath your hands.
So, as of today, are there any professional players that we may know of that you actually spin bats for, or have made bats for?
Oh, sure. I mean, if you're talking about players you would know, we were talking about Adam Eaton earlier. He's from Ohio, just west of here, over in the Springfield area. Plays for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Most people, if they follow baseball, have heard of Miguel Cabrera. Won the Triple Crown last year. Still a customer of ours. So yeah, certainly we have a big part of our business today is major and minor league baseball.
Okay. Now, is it possible that we could get back and see how somewhat of a bat would be made?
Absolutely. I've got the lathe all set up, and we can go back and run one.
All right. Well, why don't we go back to the shop and see how you go from this to something that you see Major League Baseball players using today? Well, as you can see, now we're back here in the shop. It's a little bit noisy and things of that nature. And so, what is this big machine here?
So back when we first started doing this, I would hand turn everything, which basically meant that I held a gouge, which is essentially just a really sharp piece of metal. I would hold it in my left hand. I'd hold the billet in my right hand. It would be mounted on a lathe that would be turning real fast, and I would hand turn that down to whatever I wanted. Now I draw it all on a computer screen. Bring it out here, load it on the machine. The machine translates my drawing, and it tells these knives up here what to do.
Okay.
Now, because I told the knives what to do out at my desk.
Now, on average, how many bats would you be spinning a day?
But you can pretty much figure that we can do about 2 dozen bats in an hour. And that's turning and sanding. Then they go back into the finishing room where whatever color the player wants, that kind of thing, those get applied to the back, names get engraved, and they get ready to ship out. But as far as the turning part goes, we can do about 2 dozen bats in.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly, because I'm seeing this kind of huge, I'm guessing this is kind of the computer itself. That's
Exactly
what
what
here.
Yep.
What does everything mean on it?
Really, the only thing you need to know is right there, and that's telling you what model it's going to turn.
Okay.
And what length.
Okay.
And then the 36 is how long the billet is.
Okay.
So that's really all you need to know on that. You have to go into the directory, look it up, actually select the model you want to work with out of the probably close to 500 models that we have on there now.
Now, is it possible to see it in action?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Fire it up and you go get everything going.
All right.
Honors.
What do I do?
The green button.
Alright.
I'll get out of the way. Nope. Hold on a second.
I didn't do it.
That, it does its,
See, it's always never the red button. I didn't push the red button, so.
it does it when the machine's just been turned on. It's just before it warms up. If we hadn't been running yet today, it'll do it sometimes.
Right now, actually, you can see the change of the bat being formed from the original, the way it was, to how the bat's being formed now.
go over and look through that window there, you'll get a better view of it.
And you can. So right now it's making the handle, right?
Yep, exactly. And the thing that makes our machine a little bit unique is that when it gets done cutting the bat, those lines will lift out. We have a sanding belt that will drop down in and sand the bat on the way back.
Cool. So how hard is it to actually just make one then?
Oh, it's not hard at all to make one. Once the drawing's done, it's no harder to make one than it is to make a dozen.
How long does it usually take to make that?
The whole process of turning the bat, turning and sanding, is about 2 minutes.
And then how much would adding the paint be?
That's where we run into issues because while it takes 2 minutes to turn and sand the bat, you get back into the finishing room and those finishes, even with the more modern finishes, you're talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours to dry. If it gets 2 coats of finish, you've obviously got 4 hours back there as opposed to a couple minutes up here.
And I was going to say, because I know you did it by hand, how long did it take when you did it by hand?
If everything went perfect, it took me about 15 minutes.
So this is what it would look like after you're done spinning it.
Right. So what happens is normally it would drop onto a conveyor belt. Somehow down here, whoever's running the equipment that day, brings it over to the shop saw, knocks the nuts off.
Okay.
Then it gets hung on one of these racks. We would normally have a slip with it that tells John, who just walked by, we tell him what model it was, what length, all that kind of thing. So the order and the back get hung on the rack. When the rack is full, it gets rolled back into our finishing room. That tells whoever's working back there what colors it's supposed to get, whether it's supposed to be cupped, what name's going to get engraved, that kind of thing. And once all that's done, it gets boxed up and shipped out. FedEx shows up about 5 o'clock every day.
Okay. So we're back here at the wood storage.
So this is our maple and birch. We have another room that's more environmentally controlled where we store the ash because it's more sensitive.
Now I was going to say, this is the birch here.
This is birch. Birch is fairly similar to the maple.
It doesn't really give much.
Yeah, it's got more flex than maple, not as much as ash.
Now let me ask you this, as a bat maker, of the 3 woods, which wood would you prefer a bat to be?
Depends on what I'm going to do with it. It really does. It's such personal preference.
Like
The
feel-wise and
our
everything.
pro players tend to like the maple because it's so dense, it gives the energy back to the ball so well. It's really good at driving the ball. And if you're a pro player, you've got incredible hand-eye coordination, so you're able to square it up regularly. But even at that, we have pro players who like birch, we have pro players who like ash. So it really is a personal preference thing.
Now me, as using wood bats, I think the first one you made me was maple, and then I went to ash.
Right.
And I actually liked the ash a little bit better, just because it had more of a tighter feel with the grip.
And a lot of players do. And, for us, the majority of our pro guys like the maple, but we definitely have players who like ash. We definitely have players who like birch.
Now I'm noticing over here. Forgive me. What's going on over in?
Right. So this is our finishing room.
Okay.
So this is what I'm thinking about. And what happens back here is when that whole rack comes back like this, tell Joel what colors are going to get applied to the bat. They potentially get dipped into a tank full of that finish and hung up, and they drip dry.
Now I'm noticing you that you put dots on here.
That's what our pro players for the maple and the birch. Major League Baseball requires the ink dot to guarantee that the grain is straight.
Okay. And how many coats do you do per bat?
Depends on, a lot of it depends on what the players want.
And what would be an average?
I mean, some players want 3, other players want 2. Sometimes we'll only have to do 1.
And then what's the machine over here that?
This is our laser engraver, and this is what we use to put the player name on the bat. All of our pro bats go out with the player's name on it. That's how it gets done.
And do you also do the logo by laser, or
No, that's
is
a decal.
And how do you do the decal without the bat, like the paint wearing off of it?
Actually, I mean, it's a baseball bat, so you got to figure it's hitting the baseball, so things are going to get dinged up. But you know, for the most part, if you're hitting the ball down on the decal, you're probably going to break the bat before you wear the decal off.
How is the decal applied? Like, is it a sticker?
Yeah,
or
just basically just a sticker. Yeah.
And then, so you basically go from spinning the bat to having the bat brought back here, polished up, make it look pretty, and then you put it into here and get like the designs and things of that nature. And then you put the designs on it, and after that, what would you do?
It's boxed up
And shipped out?
Shipping label slapped on, and it goes out the door, and we start over again the next day.
And that's pretty much it?
That's it, yeah. That's the whole process.
So based off of all the stuff that we've seen here today, one thing's running through my mind from, if I were to say order a bat today, from getting the wood to, spinning it, to painting it, and then to doing the decal, how long would that actually take?
From the time we get an order, it generally takes us somewhere in the 2 to 3 week range to get a bat ready to ship out.
And is that just because of the paint and detail?
Yeah, because it definitely backs up in the finishing room, so we can turn bats faster than we can get them finished. And if you think that, you know, if the Rays order 20 dozen bats, 30 dozen bats, well, you got to get all those through. So it definitely takes a little longer than we would like, but not a whole lot you can do about it.
Well, Charlie, I just want to say thanks again for letting me
My
come down
pleasure.
here.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Who knows, maybe somewhere down the line, I could possibly, in return, have some guys from New Albany call you and see if we can get some more bats over there.
That sounds good.
So, next video you will see of me, hopefully will be me playing historical baseball with the Muffins on the 13th of October. If for some reason I decide to edit another video before that, I'll I will have that one next. But stick around and, you'll see all the madness that goes on into the history of baseball.